This video we continue our discussion and we are going to regroup our cash flow statement. So we save our file as 12 dot finmod Britannia CFS regrouping. We come to row number 6, which is EBITDA. The first step, which is EBITDA, is going to come from our income statement. So just giving a hard coded information for cell number E6. I come to income statement sheet. I go to the row which has EBITDA, which is row number 10 in income statement sheet. I select the array G10 to P10, which includes historic, estimate, and forecast year. I come back to CFS sheet, and over there, the cell numbers G6, I paste it as link. So basically, if any changes happens for the forecast years in EBITDA, that change will also impact the cash flow statements. Again, in tax paid is also going to come from our income statement. We come back to income statement. We go to the row where we have tax expenses, which is row number 16, which is for the historic years, estimate years, and forecast years. So selecting the array, which is from column number G to column number P of row 16 of IS, coming to CFS, cell number G7, and pasting it as link and making sure the tax paid are in negative values. Why? Because tax as an expense is cash outflow. So I'm just multiplying all those values with -1 and making sure that formula is consistent across all the cells for the row 7 in CFS. So that is going to, of course, impact our total value of cash flow from operating activities. Talking about changes in receivables, inventories, and payable, all these three line item is already available for us, which has been extracted from the annual report, which is in row number 41, 42, 43 for receivables, inventory, and payables. So I come to cell number G8 and I just go down to cell number G41 and press OK. And this is what I have for receivables for all the historic years. For inventories, the value is G42. Same, copying the formula to right. Same for payables. The link is going to be G43, copying the formula to right. For other operating items, we is going to act as a plug-in number. If you can recall, while we were preparing the retained earnings segment in income statement, we used that plugin number and we used goal seek function to fit in a number in such a way that the calculated or regrouped closing value of cash flow from operating activities is going to be same with reported CFO in this case. Okay, so that's what our intention is. I select this array for a moment and I change everything to 2 decimal places by using the shortcut key as Control Shift 1. So all this value has turned out into 2 decimal places. So what do? I come back to my this segment and I want to know that exactly what changes we need to do. So I'm just zooming out a bit. Let me get the historical values for CFO for a moment, and I'm just using a copy function and pasting the values in these cells as values. So why? Because when I use my goal 6, so I can know that exactly what values I need to put in. So I come to cell number G12 and I use my shortcut key Alt A, W, and G. It asks me set cell G12, which is already selected, to value, which is going to be this one, 1299.52. Make sure you do not use any commas. By changing value of G11 and I press OK. And the moment I press OK, it gives me a plugin number. Second, I also need to do the same thing for this. So again, I go to my goal seek, Alt A, W, G. So it asks me set cell H12 to value is going to be 2526.21, 2526.21. By changing cell, this time H11. Previously it was G11, this time it is H11. Press OK. Again, I need to make sure to do the same thing here. Alt A W G, set value as 2572.98, 572.98 by changing the cell I11. Press OK. Once again, I need to change for column number J, which is for March 25, Alt A W G, goal seek, set J12 to 2480.65 by changing cell J11. Press OK. And here we have all the values are plugged in row number 11 in such a way that our calculated cash flow from operating activities in row 12 is equal to actually reported cash flow from operating activities. Now let's continue with capex. In the case of capex, we are going to go down to the reported segment, and when we look at the cell number G49 and G50 and the row headers, if we see, what do we find? Acquisition of property, plant and equipments, which is purchase, proceeds from sale of property, plant and equipment, which is sales. So we just need to adjust these two values because acquisition is purchase is going to be cash outflow and sales are going to be cash inflow. So we add these two, which is going to be G49 plus G50. I press enter and I copy this right to all the historic information. I come to cell number total debt. Now this time we are going to use a sum function. There are three line items which we can see for historical information, which is in row number 45, 46, 47, which is proceeds from repayment of working capital of borrowings and proceeds and repayment for non-current borrowings in cell number 46, 47 respectively. I select this array, which is G45 to G47, and we have the information for change in total debt. I copy the formula to write for all the historic years. Then we have information which is row number 15 for changes in equity, and we don't find any information in for the changes in equity. So that is going to be blank for us. So we keep it hard coded as 0 and copy this information to right. We come to cell number G16, which is row number 16, which talks about interest expenses. Now, this is again an element which is also present in income statement. So this is going to come from our income statement. So this is coming from income statement. So again, I go to income statement and look at row number 13 in IS sheet, I find interest expenses. Now note, as we had done for tax expenses, it will be negative. Same, it also happens with the interest expenses. I select the array, which is from G13 to P13 in income statement sheet. I copy, I come to CFS sheet in cell number G16 and paste special as link. I make sure all the links are in negative, so I multiply this with -1. And this formula is consistent across all the cells for interest expenses row. Now, this gives us an information about the total cash flow from investing and financing activities. And when we look at the actual reported segment, which is in row number 3031, so we need to make sure these both matches. So let us bring these two values. So let's sum this up for a moment. And we get this CFI and CFF. So this is the total value in the formula terms. We come to cell number G18 and we repeat the goal seek task as we had done for CFO as well. Now remember that this will act as what? So row number 17, plugin number. Plugin number. I come here in cell number G18, Alt A W G, set cell G18 to this value, which is going to be minus 1334.95. Make sure there are no commas here. By changing with cell, this cell which is G17, press OK, press OK. Again, now these both matches. Now why is it 0? Just because you can understand, because of one decimal places rounding off. I come back here. Once again, I go to data. What if set cell H18 to value 2545.43 in negative minus 2545.43. By changing with cell number H17, I press OK and OK. I have got the answer for that. I come back to I18. I come to I18. I once again go to goal seek, changing I18 to minus 2354.98. By changing cell I17, using it OK, I have the required value. Same, selecting J18, going to what if analysis goal seek, set cell J18 to minus 2677.50 by changing cell number J17 and pressing OK. Now, this is where exactly we have these two values to be same, which is minus and minus. Now, we have cash flow from investing and financing activities. These information has been extracted for all the historical information. Now, we don't require these sum total values, so I delete them. Now, let's work around with this cash balance, which is opening cash, net changes and effect and everything. Let's come to this cell, which is cell number G21, which is opening cash balance. Now, we are going to link this with our own historical value, which is already there, which is going to be 141.5 cash and cash equivalents at the beginning of the year. If you look at the row header, cash and cash equivalents at the beginning of the year. So I press OK. The next is net change in cash. So which is going to be the sum value of the two cells, which is going to be G12, comma G18. So we just need to have that summation. I copy the formula to right, and I stop that copy to up to this point, which is cell number G22 as of now. I come and select effect of exchange rate change on cash and cash equivalents. I go down and I look at this row header, which is effect of change in changes on cash and cash equivalents. I select this, which is G33, and we add bank overdraft. Okay, if let's add the bank overdraft, which is in row number 37, the values which are been reported in negative. So we need to adjust that value in positive. So cell G37 multiplied by -1. And when we look at the total value, which, sorry, the closing cash balance in row number 25 for column number G25, we have it as 118. And when we look at row number 36, which is basically cash and cash equivalents, which is referring to note number 15 in the annual report, is also 1118. Now what we do, which is G21, we copy this formula to right. And for all the opening balance, we are adjusting these values. And what do we have, which is 1118, 102.4, 322.8, and 132.8. One interesting thing, if you keep a focus on these four closing cash balance, and if we go to the balance sheet, and if we go to the group balance sheet line item of row number 6, the values which is also there is also matching for us. Okay, so this marks the completion of regrouping of cash flow statement. Thank you for watching the video.